Okay, so this is Runbow, and I am playing on a Wii U, and I'm presenting the Bowhemoth challenge. Runbow is a pretty cool game. It's precision platformer, sometimes a little jank, but you know, what can you do? Still got really great controls. The game has an in-game timer, so that's how we're going to be judging this. Now, Bowhemoth is a particular challenge in Runbow where you can't save your progress. It will remember what room you got up to, but that's as far as it'll go. If you try to exit the game, then it will just start you back at the beginning. So for those wondering what Runbow is in general, as far as the platforming goes, pretty standard fare, but you may notice that the platforms keep disappearing, and that's because the game's art aesthetic is really neat, and if you can't see the platform because of the wave in the background, then it technically doesn't exist. It's quite a fun little gimmick, and it's really pushed to its limits in this mode. Yep. It's very easy to fall into pits. When you start rushing, it's definitely a much harder game. But you do gain some familiarity with where you should be going next. Oop. A little close there. You should be able to make it. Yep. So you have a double jump, and you also have an upwards attack that sort of acts like a triple jump. It's got a little more startup to it, but it also gets you up a lot higher. And if you thought there was only going to be two colors throughout this whole thing, well, you're dead wrong. They're definitely going to introduce way more, and they're also going to get a little more maniacal about the layouts of each room. And I'm going to be racing this against a bunch of Koopas who introduced me to this game. He's a pretty cool dude. Runs a whole bunch of games. So as tempted as I would be to play it safe, I'm actually going to have to be playing as aggressively as I can anyway, because he's no slouch. And the goal of Bowhemoth is to beat it in 20 minutes or deathless. Since I've already died a couple times, well, the goal is to beat it in 20 minutes. I always thought it was particularly interesting just how vile this mode can get. I believe in a commentary it was stated that people have taken upwards of 6 to 8 hours beating this mode. And I can certainly see it. For people dedicated enough to continue playing that long. Uh-oh. Oop. Platforms aren't perfectly flat shapes. If they look curved, they probably are, so there may be moments where I just barely slip off of something. As far as cycle skips go, there are some rooms where you can kind of gun it and get ahead. In this room, it's particularly difficult to do that without falling behind anyway, and then being too aggressive, get you killed. Luckily, most of the time when they're showing you a room and it's kind of easy to keep up with the cycle, it's because they're not too long from showing you the same room, but making it somehow trickier. Either smaller platforms or faster cycles. So this, for example, would be an extreme version of the first couple rooms we saw, where it can basically only barely keep up with these moving colors. In other modes, you can probably get along without even having to use things like your double or triple jump, but the design of these stages is based entirely around your barest abilities to make these leaps. Much to the point where second-guessing yourself, oof, or hesitating at all can get you killed. And if you've been paying attention, at every death they have quite a lot of this dialogue. All positive encouragement, of course. There we go. This actually isn't even one of the trickier rooms. I remember when I first played this game, I do clearly remember afterwards Mucha telling me, ah yes, everyone remembers their first Runbow. And I think that's quite a strong way to describe this game, because there are certain rooms that I will probably never forget because of how vicious and cruel they can be. This, for example, is kind of one of them, although I will be making very slow progress by waiting. I would like to try and hurry it up. But I've definitely died my fair share of times in this room, and the next couple rooms that are just like it. Oof. Oof. Must resist the temptation. So that little forward dash punch that I do at the end of the rooms, that's just because it's the end of this. It's the end of the room. It's just gonna get me into the next room. You might have seen just now that it has a little bit of lag at the end of its animation, so I'm not gonna be doing it to move. For the same reason, doing a ground pound attack is not actually the fastest way of getting around. On long vertical drops, they have to be really long for it to actually be worth it. So these last couple rooms have all had colored hazards. I feel like this room is kind of a break compared to the other rooms we've just been going through. It's pretty simplistic, the pattern's very easy to tell. That said, that same scheme will now kind of push us. Oof. Oof. Double whoops. I would like to think that these were flat walls initially. However, they do have slight curves and indentations, so there may be some rare moments where I actually managed to get a double jump kind of refreshed, because I have to touch the ground to get my double jump back. Oops. And because of some stranger collision, whatever it detects as a floor, you will briefly touch, quote-unquote, the ground of some sort. Kinda like that. Uh-oh, that's fine. It's a little scary. This room is actually the one I expect to die the most in, so I will be particularly careful. Or at least a little more careful anyway. I was trying to catch one of the earlier cycles, but I wound up falling behind just enough to kind of get an easy pass. Uh-oh. This is one of those rooms where I actually want to stay closer to the top, just because it makes it a lot easier. Oh. That will kind of make this a lot more improvised. Get a little scary. I'm fine. Oh yeah, that was a little close for comfort, but there we go. Considering that was one of the scarier rooms, I'm glad to be past it. Oof! That's a rare problem. That was definitely all my fault. You saw that instead of getting an up attack, I got a regular old punch, which does nothing for my aerial survivability. Oh, Jesus. Well, that's something that I haven't had happen to me before. I guess I usually jump over that. I didn't realize the little laser thing actually has some collision to it, so I just kind of bonked my head up against it. Oops. Oh, I shouldn't have tried. Shouldn't have tried to do a dash attack because there is a small amount of startup to it. Okay, just play it safe. Oddly enough, I usually do better on this one because I don't try to rush and do the bottom route. Oh man, that was one of those moments where the game took pity on me. I just barely got my jump given back to me. And we're coming up on the end. There's only one real way to die in this room. There's a small pit of acid toward the end. Kind of a tight jump, but after everything else you've gone through, it's not that bad. Huzzah. Not too bad. A sub 20. I'll take it. Yeah, there's definitely plenty of room to be gutsy and then realize you should probably take your time with the room. Game is pretty fun, and I would be happy to present this as a race with my good pal. Thank you.